think. Oh, it's live. Good. You guys, we got this working. Okay, let me just press one thing, make sure we're going. We are here, you guys. Chelsea, help. I need you to fix this. Would you fix that light? I'm not sure.
Oh.
I don't know how to do it. She fixes it all. She's the one. Okay, so we are back. And just make sure it's not too bright. Look at, make sure.
On the screen in here.
Okay, that sounds good. She's going to be fixing that. Now, what I'm excited about is to finish going over with you. It looks like you guys are seeing it. This is good. I have to come up here to see what you got. Good. You can see me and hear me. We're not going to try to use Webinar Jam. I don't know why every time we keep having a problem with it. Chelsea's been working like crazy with Webinar Jam to figure out what's going on. So, I don't know. She'll just keep trying to figure that out. But for this, we'll do Facebook Live. Next Saturday, I told you about the 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And I would like to know, I would just like your input. When would you like the following week to be? I'll have to pick, obviously, a day that I can do it. But for those of you who are in strange time zones and have to deal with this time zone every time, I would like to know when would be a good time for you. Okay, and give me Mountain Standard Time, okay? I don't care if you tell me 3 in the morning. I don't care if you tell me 11 o'clock at night, whatever. I'll take it all into consideration and then we'll pick a time, okay? So let me know because we are going to do a number 8. And so this is week number 7. Oh, is that right? No, this is week number 6. So I'll tell you what we're going to cover this week, next week, and week number 8. Okay, but we'll do that in just a second. Next, Team doTERRA. Told you about the family we're trying to add to their GoFundMe account. It's a Venmo. We had a problem at first because the way we were trying to set it up, you could not only give $1, but we don't want it to be a hardship for anyone. So, you guys, we can do better. The numbers on that account are not very high. We have almost 4,000 people on this group alone. If you guys send it out to your groups and let's see how much we can help them. We're trying to help them be able to get a house for their family. And like I've told you each time, everybody has hard things. And there's always somebody who has something more difficult. And so I thought it would be fun to see what we could do with this group. Then we will, maybe once or twice a year with this group, as it grows and grows, we'll try to make it something that everybody gets to give their input and everybody votes on the one thing that we're going to help with that season, or that, maybe we'll do it twice a year or something like that. So go in, add your $1. The link will be on this Facebook group. Make sure you go add it, because I'd love to be able to tell you that we're getting an influx of people who are helping. We're calling it Team doTERRA Care. And maybe we'll change that name, I don't know, but I think that'll be fun. So next, I want to tell you about trainings. I've told you before, I have trainings coming out. A lot of them will be on YouTube. I'm also creating a site that has trainings that you can get the basic ones on YouTube for free, but I will have a paid site where people can get really hardcore training where it gives you all the details, all the pieces that you need for every single piece of the training. But I also like to make sure that you get trainings like this that are totally free. I love to make sure I help you with your business. I'll talk to you more about that at the end. And last of all, I told you guys before that I would do the how to sample effectively. And some of you have been asking, I noticed in the feed, you're asking, okay, did I miss that? You're gonna talk about, like, you're gonna post how to sample effectively. And I also talked about how I was going to post a Facebook Live video on testing. I'll talk to you about testing in just a minute. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, I'll make that clear. But how to sample effectively. This is what's happening. Our marketing people I've recorded the video, and our marketing people have to take that video, put the cool stuff at the beginning, put the cool stuff at the end, and make it all awesome so that it's ready for YouTube. So what I'm gonna do for you guys, because it's been the holidays, and so that process has slowed down a little bit, what I'm going to do is I am going to give you guys that video here on this, on this Facebook group, okay? Only on this Facebook group. Don't post it anywhere else. You're welcome to share it or whatever, but don't be posting it somewhere. So what's gonna happen is it'll be on here, but it won't be all finished and nice. It's the entire training that I recorded, but the cool stuff at the beginning, the cool stuff at the end, that won't be on, which is totally fine. But that way you guys can get started on how to sample effectively. And can you turn your camera around? Oh no, so we can see your writing. You guys, we forgot to turn it around backwards. here, I'm going to turn it around right now. You guys are awesome. And I am going to have Chelsea, would you come over here? And just a second, you guys. You're going to see up my nose. Okay, hold on a second. Here we go. Make sure that it is showing the entire, you know, paper and all that stuff.
Wait, we have to flip it first.
Oh, flip it first.
Okay, please
Thank
tell me
you.
how to flip it.
Okay, hold on a second. Yeah, there it is.
Wow. There we go.
Okay, wait. Let me pull that open for you.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, but like make sure you can see the whole thing. Okay, you're good, and it's not too high. Okay,
Yep.
you guys, how is that? Is that better? It's a good thing you guys said that, and I noticed it at the beginning. So, how many weeks does it take to get this down so that we can get it right? Thank you for your patience. You guys are awesome. And for those of you who make some of the sassy comments, you be nice. You be nice. We're doing our best. Okay, well, maybe not our best, huh? We can do better, right? Okay, how to sample effectively. That will be up. I'm going to have Olivia post it tomorrow morning, first thing in the morning. So you guys can be looking for that. Go ahead. I know what she's trying to do. She's trying to wipe the lens. Okay, this is what we're going to cover today, you guys. We are going to cover, first of all, I have a few questions I want to answer, questions that I saw come through. Second of all, and Chelsea, would you make sure, tell her if you can hear me well enough. I'm talking kind of loud, I'm a little far away from the phone, just want to make sure. Okay, then I'm going to talk to you about how to test. I promised you guys that I would do a Facebook Live video on just how to test, but guess what? It was holidays, I was flying from China, so I'm just making excuses, and I didn't do it. I'm so sorry. So I apologize for those of you who are trying to find it, thinking that it would be there. So I am going to start that at the beginning, like right after questions. I will talk to you and tell you in detail exactly how to test someone so that you know if they are a C, a CC, if they should go on your front line, that kind of thing, okay? Then we're gonna quickly review how to do the fixes. We went into that in detail in number 5, so I am not going to go in detail for that here, but I will list them, and when I get to that part, I'm gonna tell you why I'm listing them. Because you guys have a part in this time. Then I'm going to talk about the exceptions committee. I'm going to talk to you about how that committee works. I'm going to talk about the things, I'll tell you the reasons they will let you have the exception every single time. I'll tell you what will get them to allow those, and I will tell you the list of things that they will never allow, that they will not let you make a change for, okay? Now, because I didn't think I covered it last time, so I was trying to double check, but let me know, for those of you who were there last week, because now we've done so many weeks, I want to make sure I'm not repeating myself. Then, at the end, I'm going to do, or hopefully halfway through, I'm going to do a small example team. I'm going to write up, not the one I've talked to you about that we're going to do next week. This will be someone who's trying to hit silver. It's just kind of a small team. I'll show you a few things that are going on the team that you'll see on your own teams. And I'm going to show you some fixes that you can do. And then that will kind of get your thoughts pumping. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go through every question that we can until the time is up. Now, I do want to tell you 2 things. I'm going to be sassy tonight. If you ask me a question that was in another video, don't feel bad to ask the question. But don't feel bad when I say it's in a video, you need to go watch the past videos, okay? Because it's better that you ask the question, and then everybody who's listening, who also has who have the same question, guess what? Now they know, oh, it is in the videos, so I can go check. Because if you don't ask the question, nobody knows, and other people are thinking the same thing. But I'm not going to go into answers that I've already answered before. And if you are watching this tonight, you really should have watched all 5 of the previous videos. So if you haven't done that, I would recommend you go back and do that. And I get, you guys, we have had technical difficulties. Sometimes it's because I'm in other countries. Hello, this time I'm in the USA, and I am in a place that says it has high internet, so I'm not sure what our problem is. But we are going to get through those problems, and we're going to get you this information. The other thing I want you to know is, as I review the fixes, now, just so those of you who haven't caught up to us, and I'm just going to spend 60 seconds here doing this. what we've done is we've covered an overview of the comp plan so that you understand why your decisions in placements make a difference with your paycheck. That's number one. And of course, in great detail, a lot of these things. We've talked about the biggest mistakes people make in placements. Then in another session, we talked about what are the fixes, the ways that you can fix those problems. We've kind of covered several different things. We've talked about dynamic compression. We've answered a lot of questions that people have that are pretty common questions about how to fix your team and how, what do you do about this and what do you do about enrollership? Who should get the enrollership? We've covered those in great detail. So if I see a question, and again, ask your question because we might have answered the question about who should keep the enrollership, but your question might be a twist on what I've already answered, that I didn't really address that particular piece of it. So I would love to address those. Now, we'll do the small example team, then we will do, hey Chelsea, am I in screen when I get this far over? Okay, then we'll do, the rest of the time will be questions, right? So first, let me talk about how to test. And I'll probably have to come back to this page. Oh no, first I want to cover a couple of questions. And I saved some because, well, with the help of our team. So somebody named Tony Kettle, she has requested that, and you know what, I'm just gonna stop for just a second. I promise I won't take long on this, but let me just tell you this. You guys are awesome. I was, this last week, I got to spend time with some of my leaders that I hadn't spent time with in a long time. One of our couples who are leaders in our team, they had earned a trip to Disneyland, so we got to take them to Disneyland. And of course, that was a blast. It was super fun. But as we spent time with them, I was just thinking, you know what? This is awesome. doTERRA is the best. I've started being able to interact with some of you through the Facebook group. I've been able to meet some of you at convention. You guys, this business is the best. We have some new, awesome, great, close friends that we never knew before doTERRA. Some of them in other countries all over the world. So I just want to thank you guys. I want you to know how much I appreciate you. So thanks for everything you do, and it's fun to do this together. And it's fun to hear your questions and help perfect the training. The things you guys ask me help perfect the training. So Tony, she says, my placeholder account was terminated. We talked about a placeholder. And again, I'm not going to go into these in much detail. And I know that from your question, I can tell you watched that. But if this is you put somebody here like your grandma because you can't find a builder yet. If you can't find a builder, you say, oh, hey, can you hang out here for a minute while I take time to find a builder? We talked about how 99% of the time that is not a good choice, maybe 98% of the time. That's not a good idea. We talked about the problems that you have with that. So this is a follow-up question to that. She says, my placeholder account, this one, was terminated. And she said she learned the hard way about placeholder legs lasting too long, which that tells me you listened to the training, because one of the things we talked about, and I know you know this, one of the things we talked about is that should be a month. That should be a 1 month position. If you're using that, it's 1 month. Within 1 month, you found a builder. If you don't know how to find a builder, that is where you watch the how to sample effectively. You guys, we call it how to sample effectively because people are scared of the word recruiting. That is a powerful recruiting video. And I have redone the entire content and made sure that it's in order. And so we're not like all over the place, and we keep it as succinct as we can for you, although it is long because it is a heavy duty training. So she says, now all my customers and wellness advocates are all on my front line, because what happens if there are all these people underneath here? You were building under there, all this stuff is happening. If this spot is canceled or goes away somehow, all of the people on grandma's front line go to your front line. This person completely disappears, okay? Now, we're not gonna go into the ways why it got terminated, because it can be because somebody didn't order soon enough, like they didn't order for a year. It could be, there are a lot of different reasons it can happen. Someone can cancel their account without us knowing. We don't know. But, so she says, all of these are now on my front line. I think I have a plan of moving them slowly under a sharer or builder, but I just want to make sure I'm not loading up someone else's front line. Good question. The sharer or builder are both not yet committed. So it sounds like, and I might be getting this a little bit wrong, but this is the gist of it. She's got a sharer and she's got a builder, and she's trying to decide where to put all of these people. Should they go under here? Should they go under here? And she's saying, I imagine the sharer, I would place them, oh wait. I'll be doing the 3 pathways with the potential builder on Saturday. So she's doing 3 pathways to find out where they are in the process and how much they want to build. I imagine the sharer, I would place them under the builder, like the sharer. So it sounds like you're thinking about placing the sharer under the builder if you can. And then place wholesale customers under them to structure this newer leg in the best way. Again, I just want to do the best move at this point in this messy situation. Okay, let me show you. Number one, the reason I wanted to start with this at the beginning is because I'm going to review the fixes. So there are several different fixes you can do, which sounds like you're considering those in placing these people. But number one, I told you guys I'd review this at the beginning of each training, and it's the CC. You are looking for CCs for your frontline. That stands for committed and capable. And all committed means they do what they say they're going to do when they say they're going to do it. And capable means they can sign people up without any help. They haven't been trained, they can sign people up. Now, that is all that means. Anything else you try to read into committed and capable, don't do it. It doesn't mean that. Can you tell I have this this worry about leaving the lid off the pen? Wait, committed. I think I just spelled that wrong. Capable. Okay, so make sure they're committed, capable. It sounds like you're going to find that out with this builder. Now, the other reason I wanted to answer this first is because this leads us into, they might say they want to build and be pathway number 3, and that's great. That tells us a lot, but we still don't know if they're committed and capable. You must test them, because they could say, I want to be a number 3. I totally want to build. I want to be full-time. I want to build as fast as I can. Whatever. They say everything, and you give them the list in the 3 pathways that says, pathway number 3 is someone who wants to do 150, who sets up their LRP at 150 points. They've got the book. And by the way, one of your questions was, what is that book she keeps talking about? So the book I talk about, and thank you for the question, because I didn't even realize I don't clarify. The book is the, what's it called? Modern Essentials or Essential Life. Those are the 2 books. There's actually a 3rd one that has come out that they've been around for a while. I've been kind of waiting to see if I like it, and I'm liking it. And in fact, hey, can somebody go get that? Since we're at my house, it's actually at the foot of my bed on the bench there, and it has a big O. And I'll tell you what that one is. I'm starting to like that one a lot. So I'll tell you what the title of that one is. But it's basically an essential oil book that tells you which oils are good for which ailments, and it lists them for you. That when I talk about the book, that's what I'm talking about, okay? Committed and capable. Now, if we want to test them to see if they're committed and capable, how can we test them to see if they do what they say they're going to do when they say they're going to do it? Well, if we don't give them any assignment, if we don't have any plan, then we don't know. So the way you test them is this. Let me show you. And I'll tell you the less advanced version of testing, and then I'll tell you the more advanced version of testing, okay? Probably the less advanced version of testing is, number 1, you give them assignments. Give them assignments, and they can be easy, they can be harder, but what if somebody says they want to be a sharer? What if there's somebody that you do the 3 pathways with someone and they say they want to be a number 2? Well, are you going to tell them, okay, you need to have your first 4 classes this week? No, you're going to say, okay, for someone who wants to build at a number 2 level, that's sort of a, part-time builder, maybe they want to have 1 class a month. Maybe this part-time builder wants to have 2 classes a month, but they're not really building, super strong, they're just spending a little less time on building the business. Well, someone like that, we might give them easier assignments. You guys, assignments can range from anything from, let's see, I'm trying to talk so fast because I want to get through everything. I keep stumbling over my words. So anything from can you bring the water and make sure the water is set up with glasses for the event? It can be, can you bring the handouts? It can be, can you make little sample bottles of essential oils? It can be, let's start sampling people, or it can be do your list of 100 people that you're going to talk to, your Help 100 list, which, by the way, you can find a lot of these handouts and helps for you on my website, teresaharding.com, in the resources section. In the resources section, if you go to business, under business, you will see a section with handouts. You'll see a section with scripts, all kinds of things, okay? Let me back up for a second. The other essential oil book is called Advanced Oil Magic. I'm starting to like that one. You guys can check it out and see if you like it. I haven't decided that I'm going to say, yes, this is one of the 3 that you can choose from. I'm still kind of in debating stage. You guys can give your feedback. Check it out. Tell me what you think, okay? So, as far as assignments go, you can see how, like, I'm not going to, and keep in mind, you don't make it sound all boring and sound like you're giving them work to do. You don't make it sound like that. doTERRA's fun. doTERRA's exciting. We're going to be trying to help people. So if I'm talking to somebody and they just said, I enrolled, I want to do the business. I really, I picked pathway number 2. I say, okay, awesome. So the first thing we need to do is we need to schedule a time where we're going to do your strategy session. We're going to do your wellness consult. So if I'm testing them, I will give them something that they have to do. If I schedule the wellness consult with them right now, which I'm going to do, don't ever give them the assignment to call you back to set up the wellness consult. Because if you do that, the wellness consult is what helps them learn how to use their oils and helps them grow in the business, helps them have a desire to help other people. So you don't ever want to use that one, okay? And you don't make them schedule their 3 pathways session with you, or the kinds of things that are the steps that help you move them along in the business. Don't do that. But if you say, okay, so when you come to the class, I want you to invite 2 people, or I want you to whatever, I don't care what it is, you have given them an assignment. And it might be, I want you to do your list of 100, and then tomorrow, when can you have that done by? Or when can you have, start it tomorrow, I want you to get at least 50 names on there. When do you think you can have that done by? And they know it's tomorrow, so they say, okay, so notice how I'm including them in the decision. I'm not just saying, okay, you need to have it done by tomorrow, and I want you to call me at 2 o'clock, and I want this, and I want that. I say, okay, this is what we need to do next. This is the next step. Go do that. It's exciting. Go make your list. And when do you think you can have that done by? They might say, okay, 2 o'clock. I say, okay, so I want you to text me when that's done. What time do you want to text me? When you know you can have it done. And then they tell you what that is. If they don't text you at 2 o'clock or whatever time they said, you're starting to see, are they going to do what they said they're going to do? All right. Now, so those are some of the small, you give them assignments, some of the bigger assignments, which would be a little more advanced. What if somebody's a number 3? I'm not going to say, I'm not going to give them something quite as easy. I'm not going to say, can you sample 1 person this week? I'm not going to say that. And guess what? If I say that, they're not going to feel very much like I can help them very well, because they've got to know, okay, what's my next step? What's my next step? What's my next step? So for someone like that, I would say, okay, what we need to do is we need to pick your launch week. What I want you to do is, and you'll decide the launch week right then, maybe. Right when you're talking to them, that's what I usually do. I'll decide the launch week right then. And now they've got to do some things to get ready for launch week. They've got to start sampling. Maybe I'll have them watch a video. I'll say, okay, I want you to watch the How to Sample Effectively video. And then I want you to, when we meet tomorrow, I want you to call me tomorrow, and I want you to practice the script on me. I want you to have practiced it 3 times, and then we're gonna role play, whatever. So you see how those are a little bit harder, because this is somebody who I'm thinking of for a CC spot. So that helps me discover if they're committed. But what about capable? I've got to know if they can enroll people. And so capable is a little bit harder to determine. It's not that hard to determine. It's just not quite as easy as the committed, because the committed, any assignment, doesn't matter if you ask them to bring the treat for the business class or whatever. Okay, so the second thing you're going to do is, I need to finish the assignments about this. So the assignments for, try to decide if I want to go into this. The assignments for the more advanced is going to be some of that harder stuff, although, well, here, yeah, I'm going to do this. Okay, so that's assignments, and that's how you find out if they're committed. I think there's only one, right? Anyways, okay, that's how you find out if they're committed. What about capable? I'll do it this way. To find out if they're capable, this is a test that you can do. You can have them start sampling people with essential oils. And you don't necessarily want to say, okay, you need to go watch the training, and for the next 2 weeks you're going to sample, and then we'll have your classes, and in 2 weeks we'll see what happens. By then you have to have them moved already. So that is not what you want to be doing. What you're going to do to find out if they're capable, I need to just leave the lid off. You're going to go to them and say, okay, so what I want you to do, now remember, this is a CC. If this is a C, or maybe just a C, if they're capable and you tell them this, they'll go do it. If I say, okay, so what I want you to do is, I want you to, you start making your list of 100, and I want you to give me your top 5 people that you are most excited to share the oils with, that you are like, oh my goodness, they are going to love these oils. And I want you to, I want you to talk to them, and I talk with them. Okay, so when do you think you can talk to them? And they're going to figure it out maybe. And someone who wants to be a CC and who's picked number 3, they're going to say, okay, so I'll do that tomorrow, or I'll do that by Wednesday, or whatever. Then you say, okay, so what time do you think you'll be done? Okay, what I want you to do is I want you to call me after you've talked to them and get them set up using oils, that kind of thing. Or I can tell them, I can help to a certain extent to get them enrolled. And of course, I'm happy to help at all. But if I'm happy to help, I'm giving them the assignment to go start sharing those oils and helping. And they might say, well, what would work for my mom? I say, oh my goodness, these are some oils that would be awesome. Look it up in the book. They look it up in the book. I say, okay, so now I want you to go to your mom, help her figure out what she needs, show her how this works, and then help her get set up with her oils. Do you see? So it doesn't feel like I'm saying, okay, you need to enroll 3 people by tomorrow. That's not what I'm saying. And it might be 1 person, it might be 2, it might be 3 by the end of the week. Who knows? And we aren't normally, we're not all always enrolling that many people that often. But somebody who's brand new, who has their warm market, if they are capable, they will be able to find some people to enroll, even if it's just 1. And I bet you, how many of you out there watching, you guys, we have 4,000 people on this group. How many of you enrolled people without anybody teaching you what to do? I would bet that a large percentage of you did that. And if you didn't, that's okay, because it's trainable. That's something we can train people to do. That's not a problem. But for your front line, you're looking for this. Now, what if you find someone who's committed, not capable? Go back and watch the other videos. I teach you what to do about that. Now, let me tell you a little bit more advanced testing for a committed and capable, or just the capable person, okay? What I'm going to do, this is more advanced. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tell this person, if they pick number 3 and I'm thinking of them for my front line, this is what has to happen. Not only am I going to give them some of the little assignments, okay, and this one is more mediocre. It's not necessarily small, but it's easier. Go start your list of 100. I want you to go print out that page from my website, and I want you to start your list, and I want you to see how many people you can get, where the goal is to get 100. Well, guess what? If they call me that night and say, okay, I have 110. Okay, that's a really good sign right there. And so that's the kind of thing. You test, test, test. And by the way, one of you who asked this question about testing said, I have somebody that I'm going to be talking to on Monday. So it's past Monday. So I'm sorry you didn't get this before that. Hopefully this will still help, because you're still within a 7-day window, and you have 14 days. Now, the advanced testing, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell them, you know what? Okay, this is what's going to happen. You pick number 3. The first thing we want to do is we want to get, we'll set up the, let's say we just finished the 3 pathways. I'm trying to go in the order that would normally go. You just finished the 3 pathways and you pick number 3, and I'm really thinking, wow, this person is amazing. I think I might want this person on my front line. You don't tell them that. Don't tell them that yet, because you don't know. You haven't tested. And you should be testing, because guess what? You have 14 days. Make sure that all these tests, you have done everything you can to discover the best answers to this, because you know what? It's never going to be perfect. You could test and do an awesome job really testing, and then they do an awesome job, and then they change their mind. 3 months later, they change their mind. But the reality is, the largest percentage of people who, if you test them, it ends up being a wise choice where you chose to put them. So keep that in mind. For the advanced testing, I'm going to say, okay, so this is what's going to happen. We do the basic stuff that we have to do at first, set up the wellness console. We've done the 3 pathways. Okay, we're going to get going. Then, have I told them they get to be on my front line? No. And in fact, now I tell people that, my frontline spot, I do interviews. I have to test. And sometimes I'll tell them, I test people to see if they're the person that is going to be the best fit for my front line. I'll tell them that. I tell them I interview. I tell them I'm working with several different people, trying to determine who will be the best one for my front line. I don't want to create the feeling, you guys, my front line is so valuable that you guys all have to test and I'll see which one is best. I don't want to create that feel, because that's arrogant. But what I do want to do is create an attitude that this is serious. Someone who wants to be on my front line, I got to know you're serious about this. But I also help them feel like I'm totally going to help you. Wherever you are on my team, I am going to help you. But I do get to put most of my resources, my time, my investing into the people on my front line. and their teams. So people, of course, are super excited to be on the front line, but they also, if it's somebody that's going, oh, I don't want that pressure, then that's okay. They feel totally comfortable, like, wow, I'm still gonna get help. She's still gonna help me. We're gonna, be able to work together. But, so back to this. The advanced testing is this. I will tell them. So what we need to do is we set up all these initial things and, those things I just listed. And now what we're gonna do is I need you to bring me the 3 people that you think will be your best builders. Because if it's somebody who's a CC, who's going on my front line, they should be able to bring me something. If they can't bring me anything, if they can't even get 3 people on the phone with me, then guess what? That's a huge red flag. They are not going on my front line. That is not somebody that is a CC. So what you'll find is that number one, you'll find out if they even can bring 3 people. And by the way, you don't do the phone call with all 3 at the same time. You do them individually, one at a time. And I do a training where I teach you exactly how to do a phone call with new people, but that's beyond the scope of this training, and it's pretty powerful. And a lot of that information came from some of the best leaders in doTERRA, and we've put together some of the best and figured out how to do that call. It's awesome. So, sorry I can't get to it all at once. I'll try to get that out as soon as I can. But on that call, like what you do is you say, okay, get 3 people on, and if they can't even get 3, that's a huge problem. What if they get 3? What if they get you 3 separate phone calls, but on the call, guess what? You get to find out the caliber of those people. Now, if we're talking the value of a person, of course, everybody is priceless. That's awesome. But we're looking for the value of a business person. If you're going into business with someone, you're going to become a business partner. You're going to check them out. You're going to see if they have integrity. You're going to see if they're a hard worker. You're going to see if they do what they say they're going to do. You are not going into business with someone who is not committed and who isn't going to bring, pull their fair load. So realize that we are not making anybody feel bad. We're not, we're not devaluing the person, but we have to find out what kind of people can they bring me. If it's all people who can't even afford to buy the oils, that's okay. Those are people we'll help. We'll help them build. We'll help them do classes so that they can then get some of their own oils from the money they made off those classes. We will help. There are so many things we can do, but those are not your front line. So that is how you test people. And that should give you tons of ideas, because you know all the steps that have to happen to build a business. Some of them are easy, some of them are harder, some of them are small, some of them are time consuming, some of them are not. Whatever it is, use those. Use those as their assignments, use those as their tests. Yes, see, this is why I put the lid back on. Okay, so that's about the testing. Let me see what we were gonna do next. We're gonna review the fixes. I'm just gonna write them up real quick so that you guys remember, but as I'm writing them up, what I want you to do is, for those of you who weren't here last time, remember, well, don't remember because you don't remember, but this is where it is extremely important that you get out a pen and paper. If you're serious about fixing problems on your team, then you get out a pen and paper. If you're not even willing to get out a pen and paper, then you are not gonna be able to fix the stuff that's going on. I told you guys this is like chess, okay? This is a chess game. It really, really is. And if you understand all of the things that we've talked about over the last several weeks, you start to understand, because in chess, you start to understand the implications of your move. So in chess, what happens? People don't just move a pawn one forward. They look at moving that pawn forward, but then they go, wait a minute, if I move that pawn forward, then they have access to me on this side, and the bishop can go here, and the horse can come. They look at all the implications. That's why we've covered all of these details. Because now, as you look at these fixes, you don't just have to go, oh, well, I'll just get an enrollership change. You'll look at the fixes and go, okay, wait a minute. If I do an enrollership change, then I have this repercussion, or I have this problem, or I still have this issue down here. That doesn't really solve the whole problem. You see what I'm saying? So I'm trying to help you understand all your chess moves. So here are your moves. I'm going to make sure I don't forget any of them. So you get to that page. Okay. And these are in order of easiest to hardest. And if you want to argue with me about this, you go watch my other videos. Go watch the past videos because you will see why. Okay? Start a new leg. Now, as I write these down, what I want you to do, if this is your piece of paper right here, I want you to draw a line down the middle. And I want you to write, this is Sarah's leg. Sarah, she's not building. She's not really doing what she said she would do, whatever. There's a problem because, whatever. If there's a problem with this leg, I want you to write down, okay, I could start a new leg. And guess what? With almost every single problem, you would be able to start a new leg. So on this side, I want you to write every single thing that you could do. Start a new leg, enrollership change, all this stuff. Okay, so leave some room under Sarah, or you can do it like this, Sarah, these are the things I could do with Sarah. Then I've got Tim. Okay, Tim is going through whatever, so I've got these issues on this team. Or Tim has a problem child on his team, or whatever. We can fix it like this. We could start a new leg under Tim. We could do this. We could do. I want you to make a list of every single thing that you could do. So that's why I'm listing them here again. And I'm not gonna go back to this page. So as I'm writing them here, I need you to write them down on your paper. Write all these different options so that you can refer to them on your sheet, so that we don't have to go backwards on here. Okay. Start a new leg. Number 2 is a transfer. And by the way, I'll tell you this. I'll say maybe 15 to 20 seconds about each one. New leg. If you do not know how to start a new leg and you do not feel confident that you feel like that's going to take you way too long, you have got to learn how to sample effectively, how to start your launch week and create an elite. And I teach you that in the trainings in detail, you guys. I tell you exactly, step by step. I give you the scripts, everything, okay? And that's where you're going to get some of that in YouTube, free version, and I've set it up as a paid version that gives you way more and helps you just follow along step by step, okay? So you can start a new leg. Transfer. Transfer means that you transfer someone out of a spot and someone else comes in and takes that spot. And a transfer can be done by, like, let's say you sell the spot, and by the way, we got a lot of questions about that, so I am going to repeat this. If this is Teresa, and this is my team, and I am presidential, whatever, let's say I'm double diamond. What happens is, this is just like any business. It might as well be a restaurant. It might as well be Apple computers. It doesn't matter what. This is a business, a company that I started. I own it. I can will it to my children. I can put it in my trust. After I die, the income that comes into that business belongs to my family, estate, and trust forever and ever and ever, as long as that is there, okay? It truly is something you can sell. So selling is different than a transfer, but different ways that you can put someone new into that spot is you can transfer someone out, and there are certain forms you have to fill out. We talked about that, okay? Number 3, the third thing is enrollership change. Okay, that's something where if I have the enrollership, I've got a leader here and I've got a leader down here. This is Sarah, this is Tim, and I have enrollership of Sarah and I have enrollership of Tim. If Sarah wants to hit silver and she has 2 legs that are going to help her hit silver, Tim is ready to hit elite, and that would make Sarah silver. The legs that qualify Sarah have to be personally enrolled to Sarah. So that means I now have to give enrollership of Tim to Sarah in order for Sarah to hit silver. So you can do an enrollership change. Now, it doesn't necessarily always happen that way. You might have someone who, like, you might have a whole huge team down here like this, and you've got someone way down here. And let's say Tim stops building, or something happens or whatever, or he stops ordering and his count dies out. Now you've got all these people. Well, this person on level 10 down here is personally enrolled to this person on level 9, and I get that that's not 9, but you get my point. If they're enrolled to level 9, Sarah could have a conversation with this person and say, hey, I'd like to help build this person, but I would need the enrollership to transfer to me. Let's figure out a business proposition. And so she might get an enrollership way down here. Now, those of you who've been watching all the videos, you know you are giving up a huge amount of income by doing the building down there. It is way better for you to find somebody who can build on your front line, unless you need an exception to the rule, which we've talked about in other videos, okay? Number 4 is cancel. Someone can cancel their account. We talked about that with the ghost account or the placeholder account, same thing. Somebody can cancel their account. They can do that by stopping ordering. They can request to doTERRA, say I want out, and they can, there are some forms that they can fill out that way. The easiest ways are to wait 6 months and not buy anything. And then once it's been 6 months, you can send an email to doTERRA. The person who's trying to cancel can send an email to doTERRA. It has to be from the email that's on their account. They send that in and they say, I would like you to cancel my account, or I would like you to move me to a different spot, or whatever. Then doTERRA, it is an exception, but they often will do that at 6 months. Number 5 is a swap. Number 6, is that the last one? Oh, and then we talked about a little bonus, which is the one-time frontline cleanup. We got a lot of people talking about this. And so, frontline cleanup. I think there were some questions about this. Let me double check because I want to make sure. Okay, the frontline cleanup. Here were some of the questions that people asked. Let's see. Where can I find more information on a frontline cleanup? It's not really anywhere in doTERRA. It's just kind of an unwritten help that doTERRA gives you. They like to help and make sure because they understand that we didn't understand how to place at the beginning. As you build your team and you become elite and you get a little bit bigger, they want to help you do the frontline cleanup. But remember, I don't remember if I talked about this before, they will not move a team whose volume is 1,000 or more. So don't wait till the teams are 1,000 or more, but don't do it too soon. Because if you do it, let's say you're 3 months in and you're thinking, oh my goodness, I've got 3 people extra on my front line that I don't like. If you use your frontline cleanup right now, then I promise you by the time you're ready to hit silver, you're gonna have other people on your front line that you wished you had placed better or had to figure that out. Now, one of the other questions referred to, do I have the frontline cleanup? And I can't remember the exact question, but it sounded like, do you only get the frontline cleanup for your whole team? Something like that, for your whole team. But each individual person gets a frontline cleanup one time. Now, again, these are exceptions. Doesn't mean that they will okay it. And another person asked, do you have to have the 7 signatures? Yes. You still have to get 7 signatures up for your upline. And can I just tell you how awesome it is being on Justin's frontline? Because guess how many signatures I need? 1. It's awesome. But of course, that's only for my frontline. Anyone down on the lower levels, of course, they have to then get more and more signatures going up. So a lot of my people who are on my 2nd, 3rd, 4th level, they kind of always brag and they joke about, yeah, I only need 4 signatures. So that's awesome. Sorry, that was just like a make you jealous moment. But just realize, we're so grateful that doTERRA lets us do this. Do you guys get that most companies don't even allow this? They don't allow this stuff. doTERRA does this because they understand what it's like. They understand what people are going through. And so they want to allow us to fix things because they know we run into problems, okay? Let me see, what else did people ask? With the once only frontline cleanup, is that only for people on your front line that do not have a team underneath them? So what she's asking is it, like here's Sarah, she has all these people under her, but here's Mike. Mike has no one, it's just Mike. No, it is not just for the people who have no team under them. It is also for the Sarahs and anybody who has team under them, but they don't want to move 1,000 or more points. So if Sarah's team has 1,000 or more points, forget it, okay? And that's what we're going to go into next. So do you guys have all of this written down? And if there are any that I'm missing, throw those out in the comments. Hey, Chelsea? Let me get Chelsea's attention. They are trying to do their internet in a different room, trying not to use up the bandwidth because we weren't sure what the problem with the internet was. So let me get Chelsea. Hey, Chelsea? Yeah, thanks. Okay, so while we're waiting for her, that's the frontline cleanup stuff. Now there was there were a couple of other questions I wanted to answer right now, and I'm going to give you guys time to answer these. For the frontline cleanup, what are people responding right now? Are there anything that they need? And maybe now go ahead and stay in here with me so that you can throw out any questions that they're giving me. Okay, so make sure you write these down. Write these down, because we're going to go over those in a minute. And in the meantime, I wrote down a few questions that you guys had, and I put them on here just so I would have easy access. Okay, first of all, this one is from Tisha. Tisha, and you are in, I think, the Netherlands. You're in Sweden. Can I tell you, Tisha, this seriously was an awesome question. It was really long. She asked several different things, but thank you, because these are things that I think a lot of people are wondering. You asked a few different things. So I'm going to kind of go out of order for your questions. The one question you said, I know you told us not to alter the presentation of the 3 pathways, but I feel we need to say 500 to $1,500 US for pathway 2. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with the 3 pathways, what happens when you talk about pathway number 2 is you say someone who wants to build like this is usually someone who wants to make anywhere between $1,000 to $4,000 a month. Okay. Now she's saying instead of saying $1,000 to $4,000 a month, I think we should say 500 to 1,500 because most of my people live in Mexico. So absolutely right. You are right, Tisha. This I'm talking about in countries where the economy is good, where people make an income where $1,000 to $4,000 is a lot of money, but it's not out of control. For most people, $4,000 extra a month would feel out of control. That's a lot, but they need to understand that that is what you could make, okay? But you're right. What you want is you want pathway number 2 to feel like it's not totally out of reach, that it will add a lot of income to what you're currently making. It will be enough of a number that makes them go, dang, this is awesome. But guess what? Our diamonds in Mexico are making the same amount as our diamonds in the United States and in Australia and in Europe. And so the bottom line is they will make that much. But yes, you make a very good point, because the psychology behind what we're trying to do is help them feel like, okay, if I want to do a part-time, what we're trying to find out is, do you want to build? Do you want to build, but you kind of can't go full force yet? If they want to build, we want to show them this is kind of what we're looking at. So it needs to be a number that's high enough for that economy that would be big. So Budapest, for example, is one you wouldn't say is high of numbers. Prague is somewhere where, the Czech Republic, that's somewhere you wouldn't say as high of numbers. There are certain countries you wouldn't say as high of numbers right now. And there are certain cities or areas in the U.S. that it would be different. Although I will say this, let me clarify. Don't just go changing it because you're talking to someone that you think is not making very much money. Most people, even people in the U.S. who live in poor conditions, they understand the U.S. economy. What I'm talking about when I say certain areas of the U.S., I'm talking about areas where the entire population there, it's almost like they can't even comprehend the higher income because it's so prevalent in their entire area. Okay, does that make sense? So just because you live in a small town, don't go changing it. I had a group that I was teaching in Oregon, and I was teaching, we got to the part where it talked about pathway number 3, and it talks about how for pathway number 3, this is someone who would need to commit to 20 plus hours a week. And I had somebody in the class who was really bothered by that. And she said, I don't want to say 20 hours because when I'm teaching that class, what I teach is I say you say 20 plus hours. But then when you're talking with them later after you're done, a lot of times they will say, I would love to do number 3, but I can't do 20 hours a week. And as soon as they say that, I will respond and say, okay, so this is the deal. If you're serious about doing this, we will figure out your schedule. We will figure out something that works. So we'll go through that and I will work with you on that. And so after I explained that, somebody said, well, if you're already going to let them do 20 hours, less than 20 hours a week, then why don't you just change it? You shouldn't say 20 hours. Just say 10 to 15 hours a week or 15 to 20 hours a week. And I'm like, no. You start changing it. People sometimes don't even understand what you're changing. What you are changing is the psychology that we have created. Because when I say 20 plus hours a week, what does that create for someone? It creates an attitude, okay, this is serious. This is a commitment. If you're looking for a committed capable, do you want them thinking, oh, okay, well, if I only have to do 10 hours, that's fine. And that's fine. They might be able to only do 10 hours and still accomplish what you need to do. I have had people that I put on my front line who can do only 10 hours a week, but they're serious and they do everything that they're supposed to be doing. They want to build. So you can't just go changing it because you're changing psychology that is creating a different feeling around what they're choosing. Because if you change that feeling around what they choose, so now they choose pathway number 3, but it doesn't mean the same thing anymore, guess what happens? Now you've still got a problem with someone who said they wanted to build number 3 and they're not fulfilling their commitments, they're not doing very much, and then you come back to me, and I have had people come back to me and say, well, you said the 3 pathway works, and now, I did the 3 pathways, and this is not, and when I get to the bottom of it, guess what happens? I find out that they changed, they tweaked a few things because they thought it would sound better. So, Tisha, good question, because yes, in very specific circumstances, you would change the dollar amount. Chelsea says we have a question?
Yeah, so for the one-time cleanup, if they had 1,000 PV 1 month, and then if you wait 3 months and they don't hit 1,000 again, are they now eligible again for the one-time cleanup?
Good question. Let me ask you this, and there will be a lag, so I'm going to wait for a second. Did you guys hear her ask the question? I'll wait till you guys let me know. Because if not, we can move Chelsea closer to the microphone. So let me know if you heard her question, so that all future questions she asked me. Okay, scoot way closer and talk super loud.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me go back to it. So if the person that you want to do the one-time cleanup under has already hit 1,000 PV for the month, can they wait 3 months if they don't hit it again during those 3 months and then make them eligible for the one-time cleanup?
The answer to that is yes, they could be eligible, but doTERRA will almost always say no. If they've already hit 1,000, it's almost always, it's a no, unless there's, usually if they say yes to that, there's something else going on. And if it's hit 1,000 and then it doesn't hit 1,000 for 2 or 3 months, guess what happens? They start thinking that you're being sneaky, that you're trying to tell your people, well, don't buy stuff so that we can try to move this. So you see how important it is to make that happen before they hit 1,000? That's a pretty big deal, okay? So Tisha, she had a couple of other questions that I thought were really good. She says, greetings from Sweden. Oh, you're in my 11th level down on my enrollment tree. Awesome. Okay, well, cool. I'm glad you're a part of this. She says, I have a question about my team, which I have saved until seeing if you would cover it, but you haven't touched this at all. The first issue is that your general recommendations seem to be geared towards a leader who does personal enrolling at a rate of about 2 to 3 people per month. I enroll around 10 per month, which implies I need to place them further down if you follow that placements training that I'm showing you. Thank you. How far down and just how many can you place under someone? Let me fill in the picture so you understand my context. And there are several things I can answer in here, so I'm going to read this and you guys can refer back to it again. She says, I work online, which makes it a bit of a different routine. I have people in 27 countries, 99% are Spanish speaking. So I have created a whole training platform for them, both users and distributors. I'm not sure what that means because users are distributors. So Tisha, if you're out there, respond and let Chelsea know what you mean by that, which seems to be supporting them well. What I'm assuming is that you mean that you've got trainings for people who just want to be consumers, people who are builders or whatever. Around 50% of the people who come to me nowadays want to be just users. 30% say user and maybe share later, and 20% are saying upfront they want to work with doTERRA. So 20% of the people that she brings in are wanting to build. That is high. That's actually 5% higher than the average in doTERRA. So first I want to point that out. Good job, Tisha. That's amazing. But for those of you who are going, how are you doing that? I want you to listen to what she says next. She said, but this is rather new. All of my first year I built to silver on my own, building under 3 faithful LRP customers. Gasp, she realizes now that they really are only customers. Okay, and there's more to it, but I'll get to that in a second. First of all, I want to make sure that those of you watching understand that Tisha had a lower percentage of people turning into builders until she got better and better and better. As she gets better, her percentage of people who want to build is getting pretty awesome. So that's why I refer you guys to the 3 pathways. Once you get the 3 pathways down and you are killing it and you can find builders like crazy, then if you don't need the 3 pathways, don't use it. If you want to change something and see if that works better, great. And then tell me and I'll fix it. But until you get awesome results, make sure that you are learning from the people who are getting better results than you are. Okay, so I'll continue this. Well, let me answer that question a little bit first. So this is what's happening now. Hopefully you have all this written down, you guys. You're going to need those. She asked about online. Oh, no, I think more of your question refers to that, so I better continue reading. We are currently gold with 4 legs aiming towards diamond in December. I'm aware that this will be a constructed diamond, so things aren't set up perfectly the way that Tisha wants, where I've given up 8 enrollments, 8 of the 12 prospective elites, because realize if she's trying to hit silver, she needs, she needs 3 elites. I'm assuming that what you mean is that you are trying to help your 3 people hit silver. These guys are trying to hit silver, which means if they're going to be silver, they each need elites. And she's got 4 legs, right? She said she has 4. So, because she's trying to go diamond, which diamond means she'd have 3 elites here. 1, 2, 3. 3 here, 3 here. That equals 12 elites. So, of all of these that she enrolled, you obviously enrolled several of these. 1, 2, 3. A lot of these are her enrollerships. Of these 12, she has had to give away 8 enrollerships. Well, what I train in placements is when this person is ready to go silver, not a day before, when they're ready to hit silver, because all 3 of these legs will be elite, that is when you give enrollership away. So that's great. But I just want to make sure you guys are on the same page with me as I read this, okay? Sadly, only 2 of the 4 silvers are pathway 2. Okay, so this one's a number 2. This one's a number 2. Wait a minute. Let me make sure I get this right. Only 2 of her 4 silvers are pathway 2 and pathway 3 builders. Okay, so they're 2 or 3. You didn't specify. They're 2 or 3, which is, that's pretty good. The other 2 are somewhat committed and somewhat capable pathway number 1s. Okay, I'm glad you worded it that way because this is what everyone does, you guys. These are somewhat capable, somewhat committed. That means they are not capable and not committed. If they enrolled someone on their own without your help, they are capable. They're not somewhat. If you really follow the capable, committed that I'm teaching you, and why do I get so strong about this right now, you guys? Because number 1, you are making some powerful decisions right now, and I want to make sure you know how to make them in a way that is going to be best beneficial for you and for every single person on your team. Because everything we do in placements is not just beneficial for you. It actually benefits every level down. Psychologically, financially, and business-wise, leadership-wise, character-wise. We take all of that into consideration in these decisions. Okay? So, let's see. So nobody is ever partially committed or capable. And I'm telling you, it's hard. It's hard to make that designation. It's hard to say, no, she's not committed. Okay, I guess she's not committed. Because then you feel like you're putting them down. You're not putting anybody down. This is like you're saying, is it an apple or an orange? It doesn't matter. We don't care if it's an apple or an orange. We just need to determine. Because if it's an orange, we're not going to use it for an apple pie. If we're trying to make an apple pie, we need apples. So you've got to determine that that's an apple. Okay? So don't be afraid to designate what they are. And Tisha, don't hate me. Your question was so awesome, and I can see that you're doing things, so many things right. That's why I'm using you as an example. So maybe I shouldn't have said your name, but obviously, I mean, you're on the feed, so everybody's going to be able to see. But this is going to be so helpful for everybody, so I hope you're okay with that. I was reading this, I was going, yes, yes. I kept going through your questions. So there are 2 sort of capables committed. That means they're not, unless maybe there's something you weren't telling me, but you might be in your mind going, okay, yeah, I guess that person really is capable, but they're not committed or whatever. That's fine. You'll know what that is. She says, the 2 stronger silvers are on my 2nd level. So actually, her silvers are not, and I don't know if these are your 2 stronger silvers. Just because they're stronger builders doesn't mean that those legs are the strongest for her, okay? But I am just going to assume that's what you mean, Tisha, so that I can use it as an example. But let's just say these are your 2 strongest silvers, which, wait, let me maybe you specify. The 2 stronger silvers are on my 2nd level. For 1, I've already arranged that the front line, yeah, so we'll just do it like this. We'll put someone else here because this is not her qualifying leg. This is not her qualifying leg. These guys are on her 2nd level. And She says, let's see. The 2 stronger silvers on my second level. For one, I've already arranged that the front line, a user goes inactive and deletes her account. So what I think you mean is you've already arranged that this one will go inactive and delete her account. We talked about how, for those of you who are new, you don't just go in and tell them to move out. You go to them and say, I have a business proposition for you. It should be win-win. They should get something out of it. You should get something out of it. And by the way, while we're on that, someone asked the question, what if you're the one who built that entire leg, this person did nothing? Do they still get a buyout? Should you still offer them something? Yes. Yes. Because this whole team belongs to this person. Doesn't matter that it's your fault that you put it all under there. And they didn't do anything. So does that mean I'm going to offer them as much? No. I'm not going to offer them as much. I might offer them way less than I normally would. If this person built the entire team, I'm going to offer way more because they deserve more. But I might not always have a choice. This is one of the reasons you do not build for other people. You help them build, because even though this person didn't do anything and I want to offer less, what if that spot is making $1,500 a month? Do you think they're going to sell it for $200? No way. Do you think they're going to sell it for some free oils? Absolutely not. So if you don't make the big mistakes that I taught you in one of the videos, I don't remember which week it was, probably week 3 or something, then you usually are not dealing with this kind of thing. And this is not a criticism of this team, because this actually looks pretty darn good. And especially when, hello, you should have seen my team before we had the training. And
Question.
yes, go ahead.
How do you decide how much to offer?
How do you decide how much to offer? You need to think, if this was me, I don't care if you think they're selfish. I don't care if you think that they're being a brat. Get over it. Get over it. You created that problem by building under this. And Tisha, I'm sorry. I'm pretending like this is somebody else's team. I don't mean you created a problem. I'm just doing this for the sake of that question. So this is the deal. What's going to happen is, if this person, let's say they're making $1,500 a month, how much are they going to make in a year? You times that times 12. You guys, they're making tens of thousands of dollars, like what, 15,000, more than 15,000 a year. Do you think they're going to sell that spot for 15,000? I wouldn't. I wouldn't. If this was you, I don't care if you didn't do anything. You'd think, dude, I just sit here and do nothing and I get 15,000 every year. You're probably going to have to, usually this is, well, these are the numbers. I won't go into it too much, but I will tell you this because it will probably be interesting to everyone. As I talk with the owners of doTERRA, and we've dealt with this a number of times with selling spots or that kind of thing, usually what happens is, if a position is pretty solid, that means if you didn't do anything, it pretty much stays that way. It could atrophy a little over time, so it's not completely, absolutely solid, but it's pretty good. It's usually however much that spot makes in a year, you times it times 3. Now, you guys, it can range depending on how solid the team is, what rank it is, how many bonuses that team gets. So get that it can be all over the place, but this is to give you kind of a core idea, so you have kind of a starting point. Usually it's 3 times, but if I'm getting $15,000 a year on this spot, guess what's going to happen? Do you think I'm going to sell it for $45,000? I'm not, because I know that after 3 years I'll have $45,000, and the next year I'm going to get another $15,000, and the next year I'm going to get another $15,000. So a lot of times the only way that will work is if somebody really wants to sell, if somebody really needs the money badly, or whatever. You see what I'm saying? So you kind of have to work with the situation. If the team is kind of falling apart, and if you didn't keep plugging holes, it would start going down every month, then it is not worth 3 years of that. So it might be worth, if that team is making $500 a month and it would fall apart if you didn't keep doing it, then what you might need to offer is, you might offer $2,000, you might offer $4,000. You might not even need to offer very much. It honestly depends on what that person wants, okay? So keep that in mind. Let's see. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to say about that. And the more solid it is, so for example, my team, I did nothing for a year when I was dealing with my cancer, and it grew bigger and my check got bigger. So my team is going to be worth way more than 3 years worth. It's going to be worth millions and millions of dollars, okay? So it kind of depends on the situation, and you can absolutely, there are people who actually what do you call it? When they figure out the pricing, they'll do it legitimately. It's in a profession. There are professions where they figure out these things, and you would need to do that, especially if those numbers are high. But if if somebody who's making $100 a month, you might need to plan on paying $3,000. But $100 a month is not usually 3 years worth, because it's not usually going to stay stable, right? That might be something where you could offer 300 or 500 or some free oil, whatever. You get the idea. Okay.
We have 2 questions.
Okay, just one second. Let me finish this one with Tisha, and then let me do those. She says, so we're going to have this person, she's got one that's going to go inactive. This one's going inactive. So this one will move up to her front line. Great job. That was a great move. And I'm assuming hopefully the relationship stayed intact. And just from the tone of your question, it sounds like you're awesome at dealing with the people. Financially, she says, we do need to hit diamond as soon as possible. So she says, my plan is to place the distributors that are now showing up in the 3rd level so that I don't have to give up the enrollments. And I'll explain what she means in a minute, you guys. This will be confusing to some people. So my plan is to place the distributors that are now showing up in the 3rd level and the users on the 4th level. It's the best I can come up with the structure I have. As soon as I find a proper builder, I'll be starting a 5th leg and working it according to your teachings. Love what you just said about that. That's awesome. It's going to save you a lot of headache. Now, the reason there's an issue is because she's enrolling people so fast. Now, some of you are going, yeah, I wish I had that problem. And some of you are going to think, oh, brother, this is not my problem. I'm going to give you an extreme example so that those of you who do enroll, because I'll tell you what, sometimes you have a BOGO month and you're going to enroll more people than you expect. If you're really sampling properly and getting this out to your team, and you've been on, posting it on your social media, you might have several enrollments that month. So it's good for you to understand how this works. So let me go down to, well, first let me show you this. What she's saying is, this might be too messy. Notice how this is her 1st level. This is her 1st level. This is her 2nd level. This is her 3rd level. 3rd level. Now, what happens when she needs to hit silver? She needs to hit silver. These have to be her enrollers. What if she's trying to hit diamond? She needs all 4 of hers. 1, 2, 3, whatever, 4. She needs those to be silver. Now, in order for these to hit silver, all of these people have to have personal enrollership of all 3 of these. Well, what if Tisha, hey, that looks like Teresa. I like this because you're doing awesome. I'm going to pretend like we're like, this good. So, Tisha's up here. She's put enrollerships under here. Well, guess what? Now she has to give that enrollership away in order for these people to hit. Well, guess what? If this person's hitting silver because they did the work with these people that you put under there, don't even worry. That is absolutely when you want to give enrollership, that is good. That is really good. I'm always happy to do that. You don't give it before, and there are a lot of reasons why, but what she is saying is, what if I put these people, instead of putting them on my 2nd level right here, what if I put them on my 3rd level, then I don't need these people, I don't need to give away these enrollerships in order for this person to hit silver. They only need this enrollership. Do you see what she's saying? Now I can keep these enrollerships. Or if she puts them on her 4th level, you also don't need, so hopefully this is not too confusing. Also, you don't need to give enrollerships away. She won't need to give these enrollerships away to this person. But let me show you what happens. And I'm going to draw it out again because it's getting a little, well, no, I won't. Okay, so this is what's going to happen. If she's trying to hit diamond, we now know that she has to give up these enrollerships for her qualifying legs, right? Ooh, good idea, thank you. Okay, she's trying to hit diamond, then she's got to give up these. But what about when she's trying to hit blue? Now she's trying to hit blue diamond. Now what happens? What does she need? She needs 5 platinum. Was that right? She needs 5 platinum. No, that's not true. What is it? You guys tell me what that is. My mind just seriously went blank. You need 6 platinums for a presidential. Golds. You need 5 golds for a blue diamond. Well, in order for this person to be gold, if now we're trying to go gold here, what happens? This person needs 3 premiers. These have to be premiers. So she would have to give away these enrollerships for this person to be gold. Do we have to give away enrollerships on the 3rd level? You bet we do. because the Premier has to have 2 executive legs. So these have to be 2,000, 2K, 2K here, in order for this person to be Premier, so that this person can be gold. So if you put them on your 3rd level, you will still have to give up enrollerships in order for this person to hit gold. But remember, I am serious about this. Do not give up enrollership because you're trying to help this person hit gold. You give those enrollerships when this person is ready to hit silver. I promise you, you will be so happy. And I want you to think about it this way. Let me take a step aside for just a second. Let's say this is someone who's hitting Premier. Is this person, and let's say this is your enrollership. You enrolled this person, and they enrolled this person, okay? This person is enrolled to them. You put somebody underneath them. You're up here somewhere. You put this person here. Is it a bad thing for this person to have to work hard and sign up a second person? They've only signed up one. Is it bad for them to find another builder and have to build 2 builders? Let's say this person's elite. This person's elite. I'm the enroller. If this person's elite already, and now this person hits 2,000 points in volume, if I give the enrollership over to this person, they'll be Premier. Don't do it. Wait till they are going to hit silver. In past videos, I talked about why there are very, very real reasons why you are going to mess yourself up if you do that. It doesn't hurt. It's good for their character to have to find 2. What is that? They have to find 2 builders to hit silver? Well, they would have had to find 3. And they're getting paid on everything underneath here. It's not hurting them. It makes them have to push a little harder, wait a little bit longer, and I'm telling you, it does something different to your team. It's crazy. So don't get stuck on I have to give it away so that this person can hit gold. And if your team knows that right from the very beginning, do you think my leaders complain about that? No. When I'm working closely with them, they know right from the beginning, when you're ready to hit silver, that's when we give you enrollership. So guess what they're doing? They're working really hard to hit silver. When they're ready to hit Premier, they're like, dang, if I had that enrollership, okay, I am going to work hard to get another person because I want to hit silver. It changes. It changes what you are creating in a leader, okay? Because good leaders can lead people. Great leaders create leaders. And that's what we're doing. So let's see, what's the next thing? Do you guys see how if you put people on your 3rd level, if you have extra people you've enrolled and you're like, I don't know where to put them, I'll put them on my 3rd level so I don't have to give away enrollership, at some point you will have to give away enrollership.
They don't like the red.
Oh, they don't like the red. You guys are awesome. Thank you. Okay. At some point, you're going to have to give away that level 3. But if they're on your 4th level, will you ever have to give away enrollership? This is your 4th level. So let's go to Presidential Diamond. We know you don't need to give it away for Blue Diamond. What's Presidential Diamond? Presidential Diamond is 6 platinums. Okay, so, and I'm not going to use this one because P is for Premier. I'll put PR. Let's use this so that we can, so this was elite. Now these people, let's say they're platinum. What would we need to do? Where do we have to give away enrollerships in order for them to be platinum? For them to be platinum, they have to have 3 silvers. Okay, so this is a silver. I'll do it like this. Silver, silver. And a silver has 3 elites. I better do EL because I keep using different initials for different things. EL. Okay? So, here's your 1st level. And your 1st level would be platinum. Your 2nd level would be silver. Your 3rd level would be elites. You would not have to ever, ever, ever give away an enrollership that's on your 4th level. Now, should you so let's say that you have 10 people that you enroll every month. In fact, let's just make it bigger because we've been doing a lot of stuff on social media for years now, and we're starting to get a lot of feedback from that. We're doing a lot of fun play things online to see what we can make happen, and guess what? We're getting lots of enrollments too. In fact, we just won for convention. We were the 2nd place winner for one of those convention suites, the luxury suites. In order to win that, you had to have the most enrollments at 100 point enrollment. So we were the 2nd place winner in all of doTERRA. We also were one of the top winners of the incentive trip that is in February to Puerto Vallarta. So I only tell you that to help you understand. Those of you who are doing online, who have a lot of enrollments, I want you to understand, I get the problem and I get what you're doing. We're dealing with that right now. So that's why I'm showing you. If you put them on your 4th level, then you don't ever have to give away enrollership. But think about this. Okay, now I can go to number 8. What time is it?
8:28.
Wow. Okay, so let's say this is me, and let's say I've got team, whatever team I've got going on, we've got some leaders and we've got all this stuff going on. It doesn't matter. Pardon me. Because by the time you get lots of enrollments, unless you already had a following on social media, or you really start doing classes online and really going heavy on, you know, getting the word out there and doing essential oils classes, Facebook Lives, all that kind of stuff, generally it's going to take you a little while before you start getting enrollments that way. But you might. And I won't spend too much time on this because I get that not everybody gets that many enrollments. But it helps so that you understand the concept of as you get more people. Now, remember we talked about wholesale customer. It's a WC, a wholesale customer. You cannot put people underneath them. And a wellness advocate, you can put people underneath. I'll say yes, you can. Here, you can. I'll put no, you cannot put people underneath. So let's just, for the sake of argument, let's say you have 100 new enrollments a month. Because, you know, you're talking about 10, 15, 20 maybe. But let's use 100 just to show the real problem, because there are implications to this. So people who are trying to say, well, I'm going to go do stuff online, there are other issues that a lot of people don't really understand that they're creating, which is fine. We're creating those issues, but we're spending, seriously, you guys, we've spent hundreds, at least $200,000 to $300,000 already, figuring out how to make sure we can place properly, train people right, figure out quicker how to find out exactly where they should go on the team, because we are doing stuff online and we have the resources to try to figure this out. So it's fun. Anything we do will help you guys. I can train you guys what we are learning. So let me show you the problems that we're coming into. And this is, I'm not going to go into great detail, but I will just show you a few things so it gets your mind thinking. Number one, we know that on your first level, you'll have to give away enrollerships. Second level, you have to give away enrollerships. Third level, you'll have to give away enrollerships. But the fourth level, you will not. Okay? So, if you have a lot of enrollerships, one thing you can do, these are options and it's based on the situation. One thing you can do is sign them up as wholesale customers, total wholesale customers, if they don't want to build. And I realize that there are people who will want to build. And I'm going to I'll put a little squiggly line. This means these are people that you're signing up as wholesale customers on your fourth level, so you don't have to worry about enrollership change, but so that when they upgrade, you can move them anywhere you want on the team. Okay? Now, we know the problem with that, the wholesale customers. If they decide to upgrade within the first month or two and it's too soon, we still can't move them. It has to be after 90, like if they want to well, I'm not going to go into that. There are several regulations. We covered that before, and I don't want to say it wrong and then mess everybody up. So there are certain rules and regulations you have to abide by. But let's say you get 10 in a month. In a perfect world, you could sign them all up as wholesale customers, put them on your fourth level. Doesn't really matter where you put them, but I would have a conversation with this person, because you don't just put it under Jim over here and then say, Jim, sorry, she wants to build now, so I'm going to move her. What I do is I say to Jim, this is the conversation I have. I say, hey, Jim, I have this new girl. She just signed up. Her name is Ann. She just wants to buy the oils, and she's actually going to go in a different position in the team. But I don't need it there right now, and I know that you need volume because you're trying to hit these ranks or you're trying to do this. So I would like to put her underneath you if you'll help take care of her or whatever. Or it might not even be that if it's somebody that I know I want to put somewhere else, maybe I won't ask Jim to do stuff. Maybe it's somebody that I'm going to want to put up here. So this person is going to take care of them. What I don't want is to create something where I have to do all this work. Now, if Jim does take care of this person, now I've told Jim that Ann is going somewhere else. Can I change my mind? Yes. But if I tell Jim Ann is going to be here, then can I change my mind? No. That's way too disheartening. You don't do that to your leaders. So what I do is I tell him she actually goes somewhere else. But I thought for right now, for the next little while, and I don't say an amount of time. Don't say for the next few months, because now he's thinking, okay, I've got that for 3 months. Don't do that, because you don't know what's going to happen. Say for the next little while, she can be right here. She can help that volume. Maybe that will help you hit elite or whatever. Then he knows she's not staying there. But if he helps take care of her and does a bunch of stuff, I might decide, at that point I'll go, hey, you know what? Ann is upgrading, and I was going to put her somewhere else, but you know what? You've been taking such good care of her. We're going to put her under this leg for you where you need this, whatever. You see what I'm saying? So we do have some people who have tons of enrollments every month, and they put, well, some people who don't know better, they put them all on the 3rd level. Let's say they get enrollments online. They put a ton on their 3rd level, and they don't realize that, and they eventually run into problems when that team starts needing to rank. But if you put them on your 4th level, you never deal with that, but we still have a problem. What about the people who decide, like they sign up as sharers? Let's say you've got 100 new enrollments that month. I get that that's crazy. 100 new enrollments that month, and some of them want to be sharers. They want to share right now. They want to have a class, and that means those people have to go under them. Well, they have to be a wellness advocate. So the problem is now, I mean, well, you think of what that problem is. This is a problem that we are having, and I'll show you what it looks like, but we're resolving it, and I'm getting excited about how we're fixing it. When we get it to a point where I can share it with everybody, I will teach people what we're doing, and it is awesome, because not only will it work for this more rare problem, it also will help the existing teams, people who have 2 or 3 or 5 enrollments a month or whatever, and it will help you build your teams better and faster and more efficiently and more effectively. So I'm super excited about it, but that's in the works right now. So what happens is, let's say you've got 100 people. Well, guess what? If you sign all of them up as wholesale customers, let's say we're trying to put them all, 1, 2, 3, that's the 3rd level. So let's say we want to put them all on the 4th level to be safe. Well, guess what? I put all of them on the 4th level. We'll pretend like there's a circle at the end of each of these squiggly lines. Imagine this. We've got 100. We have 100, you guys. Well, you can't put anybody under anybody, and now you've got a sharer who wants to build. Now what? Well, that's a really good question that you asked, Tisha, and this is what you do. The exact answer is this. The rules for placements that I have taught you guys, you follow those rules as closely as you can. Because if this person is a sharer but you wish you could find a CC, number 1, get training on how to talk to people. Because if you are signing up a ton of people and nobody wants to build, it's just like what happened with Tisha, you guys. She had fewer people who wanted to build at the beginning. She said at the beginning she was doing it all herself. Now she has 20%, a better percentage than the entire company. So realize that you need training. You need to get better at helping these people decide to want to build, because I'll tell you, most people want extra income. Most people decide no with doTERRA. Most, not always, but most people decide no because they don't think they'd be good at it. They're afraid, and usually they're afraid because they don't think they'd be good at it, or they feel like they won't know how to do it. They don't know what to do. Those are usually the reasons. Most people would want to do it. If they felt like they knew how to do it, they could be good at it, they could succeed, and they really would make some money. Most people would do it, because look how fun doTERRA is. But if you get so good at this that you start helping people recognize that and see how they could be successful and feel confident that they'd be able to do it, then you'd get more people who want to build. So keep that in mind. So the problem that we are running into is, let's say you have 100 a month. Well, we'd like to create silvers. What if we can create silvers? Number 1, we are not going to create silvers by giving them something for nothing. So now all these people, I'm not going to just fill it all in with the new enrollments and, oh, they hit silver by doing nothing. I'm not doing that, because we will create monsters. And you guys have some of those monsters on your team, sometimes that you created, sometimes that you didn't. We are not going to create these monsters. We're going to do this in a way that creates character. And if somebody's going to create an income and get an income, it's going to be because they had to earn it. So we have built-in steps that we're creating that they have to do in order to get any more of those enrollments. And by the way, you can see how this would work. I don't care if you're getting 2 enrollments a month. You can see how this would work for any level of building, or however many enrollerships you get. And then what happens is, we don't want to waste the volume and do it all underneath all underneath here. So we want to create silvers, but then that means that wholesale customers who aren't wanting to do anything, in order to create the setup the way we want, we would need to put people under wholesale customers. We'd have to have them change to wellness advocates, but really they're just a customer, and then we're putting people under them. But you still need to obey the rules about don't build under someone, don't prop a leg, all those mistakes that we talked about, don't do those. And you'll start to find that you get real creative. We're starting to find ways to solve this problem that does not give in to disobeying those rules, okay? So just realize that. You guys, I know it's getting late, and let me end with this. And I'm sorry we didn't get to more questions, but I will tell you this. Next week, this is what's going to happen. Next week, we are going to only go over problems on a team and how to solve the problem. Okay, that is it. We are going over that, and we are going over a fake team that is pretty big, that has all the problems that you guys probably have. And I'm going to go over how to fix that, and then hopefully any questions that we can get to. And then the 8th week that we do, that I'm adding on, is going to be only questions. Only the questions you ask that night, unless I get a killer question on the Facebook group that I'm like, hey, we have to answer that question, okay? So just be prepared for that. I will end with this. I'm going to tell you the things that the exceptions committee will always say yes to, and the things they will always say no to, okay? So hopefully this will help you. But let me tell you a little bit about the exceptions committee first. The exceptions committee, they are exactly that. They are exceptions. This means you do not get mad because they said no. Doesn't mean you can't push. If you think that the no was not, like you should have been able to do that thing, you can push, that's great. But it is an exception. Like I said, most companies do not allow any of these things, you guys. So for them to even create a whole committee that they have to pay full salary wages for these high-level individuals to go through these questions, they have to understand all of this stuff that we have been talking about. They have to understand the implications of how it might hurt someone if that move happens. Every single thing. You guys, if they say no, remember, it was an exception. It's not necessarily going to happen. Don't bank on them. Do not think, oh my goodness, well, I'll just transfer that, or I'll just do this fix or that fix. You can't count on it. If it's an exception, you don't know. You don't know what they're going to say. They will always say no if. Oh, by the way, I would say probably about 75% of the time the answer is no. 75% of the time. Because, for a couple reasons. Number one, they can't just give every exception that happens. Number two, a lot of times people are asking for exceptions that will hurt someone else in some way, and they're not going to let that happen. And another reason is because people are asking for frivolous things, or things that aren't best for the team or the company or whatever. So, a lot of times it's no. This is when they will say no. They will say no if it immediately makes you a new rank. If you will rank advance because of that change, they will say no. So if you are trying to hit silver and that leg is not enough volume to help you hit silver, let's say that you've got this going on. You've got 3 legs. This one's at 200, and this one's elite, and this one's elite. You're almost there. You're close, but you've got a bunch of you've got a bunch of things here that are not really legs. Maybe you've got a team here that's 350 points in volume every month. Well, guess what? You can request to move that underneath here. And does that help you hit silver? Well, it will help you hit silver, but are you hitting a new rank because of that move? No. What if this person's 100? What if this person's 300? Or this team is 300? If you try to move them all underneath here, that still doesn't give you the rank. But if it would, they'll say no. They are not going to help you rank advance by moving and switching things around. Okay, that's number one. Second thing is if it gives you the power of 3. If you're earning your 50 points on your power of 3, you've got your 3 people and all of the, I shouldn't do that. This is the 50. This is your third person. You've got people earning 150, 150, 150, 150. So you're getting your $50 bonus. If a move, let's say you've got stuff going on down here, if you try to make a move that will put someone in a position that now gives you your 250 power of 3, they will say no. If you're at your 250 and it'll make you get your 1500, they will say no. So if you have a move that you need to make because there's somebody here whose volume is wasted, if that volume is wasted, instead of trying to, yes, it would be nice if you could then get your 250 bonus. But instead of doing that, since you know they're going to say no, because by the way, you don't want to get your name known as one that keeps asking for all these things, and I'll tell you about that in a second. But if you know that they're going to say no, because I'm telling you that right now, what you want to do instead is say, you know what, well, I'd rather have it underneath, let's say that this team is 4,000 points of volume every month. You don't need the volume there, but guess what? Somebody down there is trying to rank for something. Doesn't mean that this is going to give them rank, but let's not waste the volume. Go ahead and put it under somewhere that is allowed, that isn't going to make someone rank advance, so that now you're not wasting that volume over here on your front line. Okay? That's why it's important to know what they will say no to. It can help you make wiser decisions. Another thing they will always say no to is if you are trying to move more than 1,000 points of volume. Now, that doesn't mean, let's say that you've got a messy front line. You've got 20 people on your front line, and we've had way worse, just so you know. I don't know why I put the 20 in there. But you have 20 people on your front line, and all of the volume all together makes 1,000. Maybe this is 100, this is 20, this is 100. All of it together makes 1,000. That's not what I mean. They will move individual, like they'll move individual spots that are less than 1,000. So let's say you have 800 points here, and 500 points here, and 900 points here. And again, this is an exception, but if they agree to the exception, you could put this one under one of the legs here. That will help somebody who is already premier, but get them super close to silver. Okay? You could move this under, maybe under the same team. You might be able to move them all under the same place, but not if it's going to rank advance you, and not if the total volume. What they're talking about is if this whole team is 1,800. If it's over 1,000, then they will say no. If it's over 1,000. But what if this is, and this is a question I get a lot, what if this is Sarah? This is Sarah, and Sarah has a big old team, and Sarah's team is only 800 points in volume, but she's got all these people. Are we talking about just moving Sarah? No, we're talking about moving the entire team. So as long as you get the 7 signatures, guess what happens? Sarah, because usually, what if I'm upline to this person? It doesn't matter to me. In fact, if this leg gets moved underneath someone else, I actually get paid more. Because now they're on a lower level, I get a higher percentage. So usually it's beneficial to the upline. If it's on your front line, then usually they'll allow you to move it somewhere as long as it doesn't fall into those categories I've told you about. They will always say no if you are trying to move someone underneath someone who is not actively signing people up. So let me go to a new page just because it's getting messy. And I'm getting close to the end, you guys. I'll just finish this part. So let's say you've got Sarah over here, and Sarah has 800 points of volume in her team going on. You've got Erica right here, and Erica has, she has 1,600 points of volume. So she has more than 1,000, so you don't want to move Erica under Sarah, but Sarah's the one who's building. And you'd love to have Sarah on your front line, but you can't move this one. You would not normally move Sarah under someone who's not building. You should never do that anyway. And usually there are other options that are better. I'm just using this as an example to show you my point. If Sarah goes underneath Erica, but Erica hasn't been signing people up, they'll say no. They'll say no, or sometimes what they'll do, and they do this often, they'll say, and if you have some reason why you think it's going to be better for Sarah and for Erica, and they're going to help each other, and Erica's all excited, whatever, then a lot of times doTERRA will come back and say, okay, Erica needs to sign 3 people up in the next 2 weeks. Or by the end of the month, she's got to sign up 2 people, and then we'll make the move. That kind of thing, because they want to see that Erica really will sign people up. So don't you go and then sign 2 people up and give Erica the enrollership. Now you're creating even 2 messes out of 1. Because you've already got somebody who's not building. Now you're giving away enrollerships you shouldn't be giving away. So be very careful about that. Don't just be trying to solve the problem by giving people something for nothing. You're going to create more problems for yourself. Let's see. Is there any other reason they'll say no? A lot of times people say, well, this person on my front line won't do their 100 PV order. So I want to move them, or I want to move something so that I can, what doTERRA will do is they will look at the situation, and usually that will be a no. But what they want to do is they want to make sure that you're not trying to kick somebody out. You're not trying to hurt somebody just because they're not doing what you want them to do. Because when Erica signed up, is she committed to you to buy 100 points a month? No, it's her spot. She can do whatever she wants. She may have committed to you that she would. That's a different situation. Of course, you'll take each situation as it comes. Now, What are the reasons that, let me see. I will say this about that. I wanted to make sure I covered this. You cannot kick this person out just because they won't do their 100 PV. You could assign a customer to order under them, and that would count toward the volume of that person. So you could put customers there. And so there are different ways you can solve that problem. Remember, I said it's like a chess game. So think about that. There are different options you can do there. And don't be discouraged. Keep your lists that you created tonight, because that's exactly what we're going to use next week. Next week, I don't have anything that I'm going to be training you. We are going to cover the problems. We're going to cover the issues and go over and talk about how you could solve each of those, okay? They always say yes if there's a family problem. If there is a family relationship that is being hurt because people are under each other, let's say you've got one sister here and you've got another sister here, and they are fighting cats and dogs and it's causing real problems, they will always say yes. They will let you move it. They do not want to hurt family relationships. You guys, we've had this. We've talked about that before in some of these trainings. But I've had situations where, for example, I had a leader, I won't even tell you where on my team, I had a leader under my team somewhere, and he was sexually harassing one of his leaders. And so, of course, doTERRA let that move happen. Not a problem. And by the way, that person is out. So just realize you might run into you're running a business. And as your business becomes bigger, you are the CEO. You're going to start dealing with some of these things, and it's good for you to be aware and to know what's going on. And so it's cool that doTERRA will always say yes if there's a relationship issue that it's hurting a situation, okay? What else will they say yes to? That's pretty much the only one that they will always say yes to. So let me give you an example. Let's say you've got somebody who says, I don't have supportive upline, no one will help me. But also, by the way, my husband and I my sister, I'll give you this example. It's hard to make sure I don't use examples that anybody would know. So let's say this is you, this is Teresa or Tisha or whatever, and you've got, what was the example I thought of? Okay, you've got your friend here. This is Kara. Okay, Kara has her brother-in-law signed up underneath Kara. This is her brother-in-law, and now brother-in-law and sister are getting divorced, and it's messy and it's hard. So doTERRA will allow a move. They'll allow some sort of a transfer or something that helps solve that situation or that problem. Okay, and doTERRA keeps track of every exception you ask for, every single one. So you get red flagged if you start asking for too many. So always ask, I will tell you, ask your account manager. If you don't have an account manager, work with your upline to ask those guys. Also, for those of you who are going, I don't have any upline that's doing this and I don't have an account manager. Well, guess what? You're on a group of 4,000 people. Ask questions and don't stop asking until you get answers. Don't give up on getting those answers, because what happens is you ask your account manager to find out if they think it's going to fly. If they think it's going to fly, they'll help you decide if that's a good one to ask. Otherwise, they'll say, no way. No way, don't do it. And you get 3. Did you know this? A lot of people don't know this. You get 3 on your account. If you ask for 3 different things, they try to be lenient, they try to help you. But once you have more than 3, they start going, okay, what is going on with this person? This is not here for you to place him properly or set up your team a certain way and then fix it later. That's not what this is for. They're doing this as a courtesy to us. So make sure that you don't ask for different changes unless it really is super important or there's a reason that that's absolutely the right thing that should happen. So again, ask your account manager first, and let's see. Trying to think if there's anything else. See if there are any questions about that you need to let me know, Chelsea. In the meantime, I will say this, you guys, pretend like this is your magic genie. Your magic genie, if the magic genie says, give me 3 wishes, and hello, there are cartoons all over the place that where you ask, the genie says, you get 3 wishes. And you say, oh, I wish it wasn't so hot. They're not thinking, and I ask for the wrong wish, and now it uses up one of their wishes. Think of it like that. You're not just going to go ask for some crazy random stuff. You're gonna save those 3 wishes for something really important. And that's what you need to do. Okay, any questions?
Just gifting enrollments. Do you send an email to gift an enrollment?
Yeah, you can't do it in your back office right now. They're asking about gifting enrollerships. And when you say gifting enrollerships, what I'm assuming you mean is that you transfer the enrollership to someone else, because you get 1 transfer like we talked about in a previous video. So if you're saying gifting or transferring an enrollership to someone else, yes, that is not an exception. You absolutely get it every time you ask. You only get 1, except for the exception, which is I covered in a different video. But just know that you always get 1. If you're trying for the second one that I talked about in other videos, that is an exception, the second time. But the first one is a given. All you have to do is I think there's a form. You guys, some of you guys know. I was just looking at this the other day, and I'm getting mixed up because some of the stuff, they've made some changes to some different things. There's either an email or a form that you need to send in that says, hey, would you change the enrollership? Okay? It's not on the back office yet. I think they're trying to get it to a point where it is. So anyway, I know it's getting late for you guys. I kept you a little bit long. Thank you for staying. And I hope this helps you guys. I'm so excited to share this stuff with you. I hope that it's helpful. Tisha, I hope you still like me. And I think there might have been one more thing that you had asked. She says, and this is I'll end on this. She says, in some cases, I will be suggesting an account transfer, but it doesn't feel right to me to kick out those people who supported me in the beginning, especially as I never required them to work. She never told them, she never said, okay, you're committing to work. They were just placeholders that were willing to do it. She says they did 100 PV every month for her because that's what she needed. So that's a really good point. Now realize, this is a business. You don't kick them out. You're right. You're absolutely right. You don't kick people out. But what you do is you create a situation where you have a business opportunity. Guess what? They did 100-point LRP for you every single month. They do deserve something. That was awesome that they did that for you. But you have a partner who held a place on the board with your company. That doesn't mean they are always going to be a part of that company. There might be a time where you go, hey, you know what? Let's do a buyout. Pardon me. You say, let's do a buyout. Or, hey, let's create a situation over here where, you're not wanting to build. Someone else might want to build. And let's give you a year's worth of free oils or a month's worth of free oils or whatever fits the situation. Don't do overkill. But you're right. Don't kick them out. If anyone's ever acting like that's what you should do, that is absolutely not okay. But it is okay to create new business situations all the time. I might be investing with someone and we're investing 10% and we get X amount back out of the return every month. But guess what happens? We might change that deal. Later we might say, you know what? You're doing such a great job. We want to be bigger partners with you, so we'd like to invest 20%. Well, we'd like to be 50% investors. And then we'd like to get this return. So you can change up the partnership. You can stop the partnership by buying someone out or by creating another situation. There are so many ways you can do it. So don't feel bad to look at opportunities that will, but always make it win-win. Make it win-win. If we're not making it win-win, we shouldn't be doing it. So you guys are awesome. Now that the Thanksgiving holiday is over, I will promise to watch the questions better this week. I'll be into that more this week. So I'll be asking your questions. I'll try to answer some and be ready for next week's training. And sometime during this week, we will let you know when the training will be for the 8th week. But I want to wait to hear feedback from you so you guys can tell me when you would like it to be and if you could wave a magic wand, when would that training be? And I'm going to start wanting some feedback on what we should do with this group. Because this group has been super helpful to a lot of people. People can answer and ask each other questions. So if it's going to be beneficial to keep it up, let's keep it up. And we have so many people on it, it seems silly to close it down, but let's figure out, the best uses for this group. Let's figure out what would be a way that we can help each other. And maybe I can keep doing some trainings for you guys. Maybe we'll change it to once a month. And maybe we'd keep it placements. I don't know. You guys give me your feedback. Let me know, because I would love to continue to help if it's helping you. Okay, love you guys. Have a good night. And I am over and out.